Tale of the Sun and Moon by Megan Slime. Episode 3, From Dawn to Dusk, Part 3, The Lovers. 16 AG, Northern Water Tribe, Royal Palace. In the dead of night, Yuzuki silently makes her way through the empty hallways of the palace. Quickly glancing behind her, Yuzuki walks through the front entrance of the palace only to find Roka, standing on the front steps with his arms crossed. Yuzuki stops in her tracks as Roka narrows his eyes at her.
Ah, Roka.
You're going to see him again, aren't you?
How I choose to spend my time is my business, Roka.
Zuki, this has been going on for months. It has to stop.
I've been careful. No one's noticed my absences besides you.
That's because I've been covering for you whenever anyone asks.
Which I really appreciate. Truly, I do, but...
But what, Zuki? You're fraternizing with the enemy.
The enemy? Tayo saved your life, Roka.
So this firebender has some good in it. That still doesn't mean you should be meeting with him in secret.
All we do is talk, Roka. He listens to me and understands me. Whenever I'm with him, everything just feels right.
Regardless, you need to stop seeing him, especially now of all times.
Now of all times?
Roka looks down, so Yuzuki takes a step towards him with furrowed brows.
Roka, what do you mean by that?
With a heavy sigh, Roka looks up at his sister.
Father has requested to see both you and Hayase tomorrow morning.
Yuzuki's eyes grow wide as she instinctively reaches up to touch the betrothal necklace around her neck.
No.
16 AG, Northern Water Tribe, Royal Palace. Motionless, Yuzuki stands in front of the doors to the throne room. A few moments later, Hayase approaches and stands next to her. With a smirk on his face, he reaches over to grab Yuzuki's hand.
Ready, my dear?
Without even a sideways glance at Hayase, Yuzuki yanks her hand from his grasp and pushes open the double doors to enter the throne room. With a slight raise of his eyebrow, Hayase slowly follows her in. Masao sits at the end of the room with Roka seated next to him. Yuzuki strides forward and stops in front of them. As Hayase moves to stand next to her, Masao looks down at them with a proud smile.
Ah, there you two are. As I'm sure you have guessed, I called both of you here today to finally set the day of your wedding. You two shall be married in 1 week in front of the entire tribe.
This is wonderful news, Chief Masao. I am greatly honored by the immense pleasure of marrying Princess Yuzuki.
After bowing, Hayase stands upright and glances over at Yuzuki, who stares down at the frozen ground.
Yuzuki.
Exhaling, Yuzuki balls her hands into fists.
No.
Everyone stares at Yuzuki in astonishment.
I beg your pardon.
Yuzuki looks up at her father with intent eyes.
I won't do it. I refuse to marry Hayase.
What?
I'm sorry, Dad, but I can't let you decide my fate.
Reaching behind her neck, Yuzuki unties the betrothal necklace and hands it to Hayase, who stares at it wide-eyed.
This isn't me.
With that, Yuzuki turns and moves toward the exit, causing Masao to stand quickly.
Yuzuki, you are the princess. This is your duty.
Yuzuki stops and looks back to him.
I may be a princess, but I'm also your daughter.
Precisely, and as your father,
Should care for your daughter and wish for her happiness in life. Even princesses deserve that.
Speechless, Masao, Roka, and Hayase remain motionless as they watch Yuzuki walk out of the throne room. As she rounds the corner of the doors, Yuzuki lets out a heavy exhale. Slowly, a relieved smile spreads across her face as she breaks into a sprint. Running out of the palace, Yuzuki quickly makes her way out of the city and to the icy prison. Yuzuki peers around the corner of one of the long hallways of prison cells. Seeing no one, Yuzuki quickly moves down the hall and stops in front of Tayo's cell. As soon as he sees her, Tayo stands and smiles. Wide-eyed, Yuzuki stares back at him, panting hard from the run.
Yuzuki, what's wrong?
Without a word, Yuzuki quickly bends some of the ice wall into water, which she maneuvers into the lock on Tayo's cell door.
What are you?
Thrusting her arms inward, Yuzuki freezes the water inside the lock. Winding up for a kick, she smashes her boot harshly into the lock to break it apart. Slowly, Yuzuki opens the cell door and stares back at Tayo. Without a word, she suddenly moves forward and wraps her arm around his waist, burying her face in his chest. Gently, Tayo wraps his arms around her.
What's the matter, Yuzuki?
I told my father no, that I can't marry Hayase.
How did he take it?
I'm sure it broke his heart for me to disobey him like that, but I have to follow my own path.
Where does your path lead?
Slowly, Yuzuki leans back and stares into Tayo's golden eyes. Smiling, she reaches up to touch his face.
Wherever you are.
I'm a prisoner.
And I'm a princess. None of that matters. We can't let our circumstances determine our lives. I don't want to live without you, Tayo. Because
Passion overwhelming her, Yuzuki leans in and kisses Tayo on the lips. He quickly kisses back, caressing her neck in his hands. Leaning back, Tayo gently sets his forehead against hers, both of them beaming with wide smiles.
Me too.
16 AG, Northern Water Tribe, Prison. Several Fire Nation prisoners work at various blacksmithing stations in the prison yard of the icy jail. Tayo busies himself refining a long spear. As he works, Yuzuki suddenly appears next to him.
quite the weapon you have there.
Uneasily, Tayo glances around at the Water Tribe guards stationed around the prison yard.
Are you sure it's alright for us to be seen together like this? Out in the open?
I'm the princess. What are they going to do?
Tell your father?
He doesn't control my fate. Not anymore.
With a content smile, Yuzuki moves closer and admires Tayo's craftsmanship.
Your father was a blacksmith, wasn't he?
With a sad smile, Tayo runs his hand along the metal anvil.
Yes. He taught me so much. I haven't seen my parents for many years.
Gently, Yuzuki takes Tayo's hand in hers.
Even though you're apart, the love between shall never fade.
You know, my mom said something very similar to me when we were parting. Just like her, you always seem to know exactly what to say.
Yuzuki continues to smile sweetly back at Tayo as she grips his hand tightly. Glancing around quickly, Tayo suddenly pulls Yuzuki aside so that they're hidden from the side of the wide, icy pillar. He pulls her close and they stare back at one another as their breath puffs between them in the chilly air.
Forging weapons may be my forte, but I've branched out into carving.
Quizzically, Yuzuki furrows her brows at Tayo until he pulls out a beautiful necklace of an intricate black stone. Yuzuki's eyes grow wide as a bright smile stretches across her face.
I must say I quite like this tradition of carving necklaces for marriage.
Tayo's face softens as a small smile appears on his face. Gently, he brushes back a few strands of hair from Yuzuki's face.
Yuzuki, I want nothing more than to spend the rest of my life with you, to face this world together and to share in whatever the future holds. Despite our circumstances, will you take this chance with me? Will you marry me, Yuzuki?
Smiling sweetly, Tayo holds out his carved necklace to her. A bright smile beams on Yuzuki's face.
Nothing would bring me greater joy than marrying you, Tayo.
Quickly glancing around the open yard, Tayo leans in and kisses Yuzuki. Then he carefully ties the black carved stone around her neck. Yuzuki clutches onto it and stares back at Tayo with a wide smile.
I'll see you tonight.
16 AG, Northern Water Tribe. Swiftly, Yuzuki and Tayo make their way through the cold, winding hallways of the Water Tribe prison. Holding hands tightly, they peer around each corner to avoid any patrolling guards.
I'm surprised the guards haven't noticed any of my absences so far.
Well, I'm sure after all these months, they assume there's no way for you all to escape, and they have no reason to think you've been slipping out. Especially considering you're always back in your cell by morning.
All thanks to a certain someone.
Just as Yuzuki starts to answer, she quickly pushes Tayo back behind the wall as a guard passes in the next hallway. With a quiet exhale, she smiles back at Tayo and they continue on their way until they reach a side door. Quickly pushing it open, both Yuzuki and Tayo dart out of the prison and into the chilly night air. Still gripping each other's hands tightly, they trudge their way through the deep snow towards the quiet city. Silently and carefully, Yuzuki leads Tayo to the spirit oasis.
Finally, we made it.
Tayo gazes around at the beautiful grassy spot with two bridges over a crystal clear pool of water. Two koi fish, one black and one white, circle each other in the center of the water.
What is this place? It's so warm. Peaceful.
This is the most spiritual place in the entire North Pole,
Yuzuki steps closer to the water and glances down at the koi fish.
and where Tui and La, the moon and ocean spirits, reside.
I see, but what are we here for?
With a gentle smile, Yuzuki slowly raises her arms and gracefully swirls them into the air to bend some of the clear water in the small box of Tayo's gloves and boots. Twirling her fingers, she freezes the water to break the locks. Silently, Tayo watches as Yuzuki steps closer to him and carefully removes his flame-retardant gloves, dropping them to the grass below him.
Yuzuki,
I trust you wholeheartedly, Tayo.
Removing her own gloves, Yuzuki rests her hands in Tayo's hands. She glances down at her stone necklace.
Considering we're engaged, I figure why wait any longer?
Yuzuki looks up at the full moon, and so does Tayo.
We shall be wedded in the presence of the spirits and bonded for all time.
Unable to hide his joyous grin, Tayo steps closer to Yuzuki so that they are inches apart. She stares back at him with her own beaming smile.
Yuzuki, I love you with all that I am.
And I love all that you are, Tayo.
All I want is to be with you. I pledge my life and my love to you, Yuzuki, forever and always.
And I to you, Tayo, forever and always.
As a gentle breeze swirls through the spirit of Oasis, Tayo and Yuzuki begin to kiss each other passionately on the lips. There's an endless moment of bliss as they caress one another. 16 AG, Northern Water Tribe Royal Palace. Late into the night, Yuzuki walks through the moonlit halls of the palace. As she rounds a corner, she comes face to face with Hayase, who bears a grim expression. A slightly crooked grin hints on his face as he steps towards her.
There she is, our beautiful princess. A little late for a stroll, isn't it?
What does it matter to you?
Let's just say, I've always had a significant interest in your life, and for months now, you've made so many secret trips to the prison of the Fire Nation scum.
What I do is none of your concern, Hayase.
Oh, but it is.
At that moment, Hayase steps forward and harshly grabs Yuzuki's forearms, pinning her against the wall. She struggles against him.
As of late, there's one particular change in you that's just too much to ignore.
Let go of me!
Aggressively, Hayase pulls down the collar of Yuzuki's outer coat to reveal her Petrola necklace from Tayo.
You tried so very hard to hide this, my dear.
Finally, Yuzuki breaks away from Hayase's grip and quickly bends some snow into him, which sends him crashing backwards against the opposite wall. Clutching his side with one hand, Hayase glares back at Yuzuki.
You've fallen in love with one of those heathens, haven't you?
Narrowing her eyes, Yuzuki takes a step towards Hayase with clenched fists.
Touch me again, and I won't be so gentle.
Raising her chin slightly, Yuzuki turns and walks away.
I see where your true allegiance lies. We all have to live with the choices we make.
Yuzuki glances down at the carved black stone tied around her neck. 17 AG, Northern Water Tribe. Near the entrance to a small cave on the outskirts of the city, Yuzuki sits on a rock and stares out at the quiet snowfall. A moment later, Tayo comes and sits beside her on a nearby rock. He reaches over and grabs her hand gently. She turns to him and smiles. They lean in for a quick kiss and then slowly turn to watch the falling snow.
It's beautiful.
I could watch the snow for hours and never tire of it.
I could be with you for all my days and never tire of you.
Yuzuki turns and smiles sweetly at Tayo.
Well, good. After months of marriage, I'd hope you wouldn't tire of me already.
With a bright grin, Tayo pulls Yuzuki closer to him and they kiss. As Yuzuki leans her head back, she freezes when she sees a small figure on the horizon. Standing and stepping towards the entrance of the cave, Yuzuki narrows her eyes to study the fast-approaching shape through the heavy snowfall. Her mouth opens slightly when she realizes it's Roka, racing towards the cave on a Suga. Hurriedly, she starts moving Tayo backwards.
Quick! You have to hide!
Why? What's going on?
Before Tayo is able to get out of sight, Roka rides up and gasps when he sees the two of them together. Quickly, Roka dismounts the Suga and moves towards them.
Yuzuki, what is the meaning of this?
Yuzuki places herself between Roka and Tayo.
Roka, this is... You have to trust me when I say that Tayo is...
Enough, Yuzuki! Sneaking out and visiting him in jail was one thing, but this, breaking him out of prison so that you two could... How could you, Yuzuki?
Roka, you have to understand, Tayo and I are married. We pledged ourselves to one another in the presence of the moon and ocean spirits.
No.
I love him, Roka.
No, this has gone on far too long. It ends now.
Inhaling sharply, Roka suddenly turns and mounts Suga.
It's time Father knew of your heinous acts.
No!
Wide-eyed, Yuzuki rushes forward and clutches onto Roka's pant leg.
Please, Roka, don't do this! Does my love for him mean nothing to you?
No, but I value the traditions of our people and respect our father more.
Facing away from his sister, Roka turns to Suga and starts racing away.
He saved your life!
Halting Suga momentarily, Roka glances back at Yuzuki.
Yes, he did. And now you've endangered his life with your foolishness.
Facing forward once more, Roka kicks his heels, which sends Asuga galloping towards the frozen city. Breathing heavily, Yuzuki stands silent and motionless for a short moment. Then she turns and rushes over to Tayo.
Tayo, there's no time. We have to get you out of here, away from the North Pole.
Yuzuki, calm down. We can't leave.
We have to. If we stay together, we want to stay together, we need to leave, now.
And be on the run for the rest of our lives? You'd be leaving your home disgraced.
I don't care. All I want is to be with you.
Yuzuki suddenly hugs Tayo tightly. Tears form in her eyes. He holds her tightly.
Yuzuki, this is where your family and your people are. I can't let you leave it all behind for me.
But I can't live without you, Tayo.
Who said I'm going anywhere?
With a short gasp, Yuzuki leans back and stares at Tayo, who smiles sweetly at her.
But my father, if you stay, you'll be imprisoned forever, or worse.
Yuzuki looks down. Tayo gently lifts her head up with his hands. He stares into her quivering blue eyes as she clutches onto his arms with her hands.
Whatever happened to not letting others control our fate? You've already stood up to your father once, and this time we'll be together.
A tear glides down Yuzuki's face as she smiles back at Tayo.
Together.
17 AG, Northern Water Tribe, Royal Palace. Within the throne room, Roka stands before Masao, who stares down at him with intense eyes. Hayase stands off to the side of Roka.
And are you certain of all of this, Roka?
Yes, Dad. It's all true.
Roka looks down. With a brief smirk, Hayase saunters forward and stops next to Roka.
Chief Masao, I assure you that Roka speaks the truth, although I had no idea the princess and this firebender were so intimately connected.
Masao balls his hands into fists as he attempts to contain his rage.
I will not stand for this. Where are Yuzuki and the prisoner now?
The last I saw, they were on the outskirts of the city, in a cave near the prison.
I'm sure they're long gone by now.
Just then, the doors to the throne room burst open as Yuzuki and Tayo enter hand in hand. Roka and Hayase turn and gasp when they see them. Masao narrows his gaze at them and locks eyes with Yuzuki.
So after all you've done, you have the nerve to enter my throne room with that treacherous man!
Father, this man is not like the other Fire Nation soldiers. Tayo has a kind heart and despises the war of his nation as much as we do. I've come to care deeply for him. I love him.
Disobeying my command to marry Hayase was one thing, but this, traipsing around with a firebender, it's despicable.
Our marriage may have been in secret, but our union is sanctified by the spirits of the moon and ocean.
Outrageous! This so-called union is a sham and an outrage. Consider it permanently dissolved as of this moment.
But I love him, Father!
Yuzuki, you have disgraced your family, betrayed your tribe, and failed your people.
Yuzuki's breath catches in her throat as her heart stops. Wide-eyed, she stares up at her father, out of breath. Seeing this drastic change in her, Tayo squeezes Yuzuki's hand, causing her to glance over at him. He gives her a warm smile and then releases her hand to step forward. He gives a short bow up to Masao and then stands tall.
Chief Masao, I know that the word of a firebender won't mean much to you, but I promise you that I mean no harm to the people of the Northern Water Tribe. I never wanted to be a soldier, and I certainly never wanted to aid in attacking your great tribe. After our defeat in battle, I was totally resigned to living out the rest of my days as a war prisoner. Then your daughter came into my life.
Tayo turns and glances back at Yuzuki with a smile.
From the first moment we met, she's captivated me with her beauty, grace, and spirit. My heart is forever hers.
Hayase gives a quiet chuckle as Roka looks down in thought. Tayo faces Masao once more.
Chief Masao, I wish to spend the rest of my days with your daughter. My only hope is that you can bestow upon us your blessing.
Everyone turns to Masao, who stares down at the ground with a tight jaw and clenched fists.
My blessing.
Suddenly, Masao looks up and narrows his eyes at Tayo.
No, Firebender, you do not have my blessing. I do not acknowledge this union, and henceforth this shall be the last day you ever look upon my daughter. Guard, seize this prisoner at once!
Instantly, several guards rush in from the surrounding hallways and charge straight for Tayo, who whirls around and reaches for Yuzuki.
No, stop!
Yuzuki runs forward and bends a flurry of snow into the Water Tribe guards, which sends them soaring backwards. As they reach each other, Tayo and Yuzuki embrace tightly in the center of the room. Just as they kiss passionately on the lips, the guards get up and race back over to them. guards start to rip Tayo away from Yuzuki once more. Tayo chooses not to fight them and simply allows them to wrap him.
No, stay away from him!
Just as Yuzuki is about to bend again, Roka appears beside her and wraps his arms tightly around her.
Roka, no, let me go!
Enough, Yuzuki. There's nothing you can do.
No thanks to you!
Once the guards have Tayo firmly in their grasp, Masao steps forward.
Get him out of my sight this instant! Take him back to his prison cell and double the guards.
Immediately, the guards start dragging Tayo out of the throne room. Yuzuki struggles against her brother's tight grip.
Tayo, I love you, forever and always.
And I love you, Yuzuki, as the sun loves the moon.
Tears well in Yuzuki's eyes as she gazes upon Tayo one last time before the guards drag him from the room and out of view.
No,
You need not concern yourself with that soldier any longer, Yuzuki. He dies at dawn.
no!
Thrashing her arms against Roka, Yuzuki breaks free of his hold and races forward. She brushes past Hayase, surges up a few steps, and clutches onto her father's arm.
No, Dad, you can't!
Masao turns to glare down at her.
I can and I will. That firebender is to be executed at sunrise.
Hysterical with tears, Yuzuki pulls and pushes against her father.
No, please, Dad. Don't kill him! Please, I love him! We're bonded for all time!
For the first time, Masao notices the black stone carving tied around her neck. In a rage, he harshly grabs the necklace and rips it from Yuzuki's neck. In the same motion, Masao thrusts the necklace against a stone pillar, and the carving breaks in two. It falls to the frozen ground below.
Consider your union broken. Forever.
In a daze, Yuzuki slowly staggers towards the broken necklace. Feeling her strength weaken, Yuzuki notices her vision start to fade in and out. Just as she reaches out for the necklace, Yuzuki suddenly faints and collapses to the cold, hard floor. Without hesitation, Roka runs over and gently touches his sister.
Yuzuki! Yuzuki!
What's wrong with her?
I don't know. She's pale as the moon. We need to get her to Minami right away.
Roka glances up at his father, who stares down at him with a blank expression. Looking down, Masao gives a curt nod to Roka, who immediately scoops Yuzuki up into his arms. Hurriedly, he races out of the throne room and towards the healing hut. Slowly, Masao and Hayase follow after Roka. 17 AG, Northern Water Tribe, Royal Palace. In silence, Masao, Roka, and Hayase stand outside a small healing room in the palace. A few moments pass before Roka looks over to his father.
Father, about the firebender. Is it really necessary to kill him?
Do you honestly think that if he was alive, there would be any way to keep Yuzuki from him?
Well, no. But still.
That soldier is the enemy, and your sister is a disgrace.
Roka moves to the far wall. Hayase glances between the chief and Roka, but ultimately looks away. A few silent minutes pass until Minami finally enters the hallway. She has a grim expression. Roka stands upright and hastens over to her. Masao and Hayase also turn to her intently.
Well, how is she?
The princess is very weak at the moment, both physically and emotionally drained.
So she got herself too worked up. So what?
That can't be it. There's something off about her.
Minami looks down silently.
What aren't you telling us here, Minami?
Slowly, Minami looks up and avoids their eyes.
The princess is... she's pregnant.
All at once, Masao, Roka, and Hayase gasp as their eyes widen.
Thank you for listening to A Tale of the Sun and Moon by Megan Sly. This has been Episode 3, From Dawn to Dusk, Part 3, The Lovers. Voice talents included Michaela Case as the narrator, Sharia Bunce as Minami, Joshua Malley as Tayo, Alec Leonard as Roka, Dawson Elke as Hayase, Megan Sly as Yuzuki, and Mitch Geiken as Masao.